Welcome. These will be my thoughts on Arrow Season 2, Episode 2, Identity, as in Duel. The episode is rated TV-14, so there will be spoilers for the episode and potentially everything Arrowverse leading up to it. So the first season as well. And another episode I absolutely loved. I think I'm gonna start by the couple of there's like 2 deleted scenes on the Blu-ray. Both good. If I had to guess, just cut for time. You see Thea actually try to have Roy arrested, which, fair enough. They do have her tell Roy that, so, we don't need it in the episode, but I did appreciate seeing it. And also, one of the things is that we see that Laurel still has a positive relationship with her mom. She's talking on the phone with her at the start of the scene, and they talk about, the let's see. Thea says that she used to think people don't change, but now she knows they can. She saw how Laurel changed Tommy, and she's afraid she can't get Roy to change. And Laurel reassures her and makes her feel better. So that was quite good. And the other scene is the Michael Jai White character, Bronze Tiger, I think they refer to him as. He's like training. This must have been after the first time they meet in the episode, but the first time they face each other, but before the second time. And she's in lingerie and says, they could both be satisfied after he says that, Arrow isn't the hunter that he had been promised. He's not a killer. He's an album filler. And yeah, I thought I like the way that, basically their relationship is there, and, it is a classic thing of the, villains having a sexual relationship where it's at least implied that part of it is that they just like, violence so much that it's like an aphrodisiac. And I think that does, yeah, so those are the deleted scenes. So I liked that. So yeah, being the second episode of a season, this is also a good place to, help define the status quo. And yeah, it genuinely is. There is a conflict between Blood and Queen, and the let's see, what was the other thing? Roy, becoming the eyes and ears of the Glade. And yeah, this actually segues nicely into the scene by scene. So yeah, very early in the episode. Actually, I guess, yes, I'll just very briefly note. So, similar to most episodes of the first season, this one has a, it has Oliver laying out the overall concept and such. And, now he says, I can't be the killer I was last year. I have to become something else. So that's a nice, they're still incorporating have to become something else to, do justice. And yeah, but yeah, the fact that let's see, where were we? The couple of new status quo things. Let's see. Yes, they talk about, last year it was, there was literally a list to go through, and now, how do you find and yeah, I really do appreciate the way that, so yeah, by the end of the episode, the answer is, Roy is gonna I don't know if he's going to be the only source, but he is definitely going to be story engine. I forget what those are called, but yeah, he's going to help provide some stories by virtue of that, and it definitely is, a different way to approach it, because like in the first season, like he from right away, I talked about that in my videos on season 1. Oliver realizes to do good, he has to help the needy. It's not about just going around and punching low-level criminals. He has to actually deal with these problems at the root, and that is the wealthy. So much truer even today than it was. It was already an apt commentary 12 years ago, but now, holy crap. And let's see. I think that does cover that part of it. So cool to see China White and Bronze Tiger again. Just, yeah. And I think that pretty much covers the, so yeah, let's see, we have the, so after, the first episode of this season did not have Oliver engaged in, some of the training that we saw him do a lot of in the first season, in the lair, shirtless and all. And actually, true story, after they did the first episode of this season, the actor's abs complained, and so a scene was put in this episode. Seriously, though, I am jealous. I'd be doing that, possibly even on camera, if I could, too. Holy crap, like him suspended up there, and then he like jumps down and breaks off part of the thing, and Diggs like, we're gonna have to buy those in bulk now. Now, that brings us to, I'm struggling to remember the exact order, but let's go with FEMA, the truck driving, and the motorcycle gang, and Roy, intercepts with the radio and plays chicken. And the thing with, that they did in the previously on, they include Thea saying, it's like you have a death wish, and guess what? It's going to come true one of these days. And if you play chicken enough times, eventually you might lose. And I like the little look on his face, but when he plays chicken against the second person, by then he's lost the element of surprise. So the other guy pulls out the gun, and you just see Roy's face like, right. I'm not bulletproof, am I? And that's the thing. Like, he is too consumed by emotion. He did not have the benefit of 5 years training on the island that Oliver did. And fantastic stunt as well. The car like partially flipping in the air. Like, the landing isn't too bad, but then they do also have him, leave the car on his own. He doesn't have to be like pried out. So, but yeah, that was really, really cool. And China with those blades, like, holy crap. And yeah, I think that does get us to the club. Is this I think this might be the scene where, Thea's like, Oliver, I didn't see you come in. And he's like, I had a secret entrance installed back when I ran the place. And she's like, come again? And he's like, I mean, I was just robbing your safe. But yeah, I do like these little things where he tells, because like, it's when he says those things, like obviously the other person doesn't believe him and thinks, oh, that Oliver, such a kidder, like Margot. And yeah, yeah, she gets the phone call. And it's like, of course that's where he is. Right. Also, I like the Roy. He just sometimes doesn't know when to quit. You know, he gets out of the car, the cops surround him, and he's like, the real bad guys are getting away. I'm just saying, maybe I'm doing something the police can't do. And yeah. I really love Laurel starting out playing hardball, and pointing out, I mean, I think it might be true that, he could be charged with obstruction. I think there's a very real case for that. I'm not a lawyer like she is, but I think this does fit the definition, yeah. And, within seconds, she does soften because, like, at the end of the day, she doesn't want to be harsh and like, I mean, she understands, and she even says, like, listen, I was where you are. I mean, not literally, but, and she points out, he seduces you, which is a good way to put it. I mean, she doesn't know. I don't know exactly how. Really excited to find out what happens next. Gonna be very soon that I do the next episode. But yeah, after the end of this episode, I don't know if that's gonna be her finding out that they are the same person, Oliver and Arrow. But yeah. Oh, right. And the Previously On loved. Not the Previously On. What's it called again? I forget. Yeah, intro sequence. There's like this transition shot. It's not a fade. It's a match cut. That's what it's called. Between two bits of him holding an arrow in front of his face, and just fantastic. Yeah. The let's see. Yeah. So Thea, tries to talk Roy out of this whole thing, and Oliver's like, let me talk to him. And I love Thea being like, I'll always think fondly of you. I can't lie about your chances, but you have my sympathies. Like, yeah, I'll be over here planning the funeral, and yeah, Roy's still like, he makes another crack at, like, there's something about, like, we're the same. We're not so different, you and I. And Roy is like, I've been in the back of more cop cars than limousines. Which, I mean, fair enough. A lot of people thought he wouldn't get this far. They thought he'd end up in the back of a car. And, yeah, Oliver. So in real life, I'm not in favor of intimidation. It can just sometimes be cathartic in fiction. And Roy does need to, come to his senses here, but yeah, Oliver just like grabbing him by the arm, and like you can tell, yeah, that's not a light grip, and he's not gonna let go until he feels that, he does let go after several seconds, but like, yeah, that is like just iron grip. And yeah, the yeah, he lays it out perfectly, the thing about the rage. I know how this goes. You're going to go out into the night and you're going to find someone like him, and another until you don't even remember. I have got to stop referencing that movie. Moving on. The yes, the thing about the yeah, and Roy tells him, better to be dead than in a hospital in the Glades. And he tells him about, the hospital. And, Oliver's like, I didn't read about it being damaged in the earthquake, though, And yeah, we're really seeing, the fact that he doesn't go to the Glades that often means that he doesn't really know how bad things are. And that is such a great place for me to plug ground news. I'm not sponsored, but it sounds great. Never used it myself, but a lot of people I trust in it, including Some More News, which just did, videos on the situation with Venezuela, that America is trying to, there's Star Wars stuff in that one, if that's partial selling point. They did a even more news called "Shh, the Old Racist President is Sleeping." Both excellent videos. Anyway, the media are not necessarily going to tell you the whole story. That is an actual problem, especially if it's not like sufficiently, like the earthquake. That is like a story. But, sometimes terrible things happen to people who don't have power, and the news don't report it. And this is, of course, also something, in the first episode of this season, the Hoods talked about why is Oliver Queen getting all this coverage? So it is an actual theme here. This is, And let's see, I think that does bring us to when they go to the actual, let's see. Oh, right, there was also, we have the first mention of, the place, at Big Burger? There's so many names, so many details, I can't keep track of all of them, but yeah, the place that, Carly, works at. And Oliver does indeed not notice the look on Dig's face. Even though the camera lingers on him, it's like he's not even watching this episode very attentively. And that's also a compelling, because the status quo, it seemed like it was going well between them. And the, I think that does get us to the hospital, which is not a place you want to stay for too long. But great job making it chaotic. It's a very short sequence, but look at how many people are being wheeled back and forth, and all the just like hectic energy inside. And then when they go outside, Oliver's like, is it too late to use a smoke bomb and disappear? Blood really does, he's too excitable. And really starts and I thought he worked really well the way, he mentions 503 people died, and you do see signs, at least one person had one that just said 503, one had something like remember 503, something like that, so feels very authentic. And I think that does I think they did a good job. Right, I like that Oliver does try to explain and apologize and such, and it's just not enough, so we are seeing blood is I think later in the episode he lays out his view on crucifixion, and I don't know how much it's going to be a thing, but they're definitely, there's room there for him to be a real thorn in Oliver's side. Oliver, his image in the first season, he was content to be, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist, but now he's trying to be seen as more, more than that. He's not too busy swimming, and yeah, with the we have the classic thing of, like she even says, which suit are you going to wear? And yeah, it's I have to admit, the double life thing, I more than any other character connect to Spider-Man, but it is obviously a thing with others as well, and they do a good job here, as they do in some of the Spider-Man movies. And I think that does bring us... Yeah, so it ends with him, getting into the car and driving off, and one of the people uses um, smashes the window, with the wooden stick of the sign. And I think they're getting right up against the line of, you don't want it to end up feeling like, oh, this poor, this how sad for this rich person that these scary poor people are attacking him. I think what it illustrates is that blood is, able to rile people up, and that Oliver is going to have to deal with this situation, and I mean, it's not like for the rest of the episode, Oliver isn't talking about like, oh, I have to be careful around these, around the people of the Glades. Like, it's more this thing of like, I have to fix this, and all blood is, part of the issue here. And in at least one of my videos on the first season, I talked about how, you have this thing of like, when the thing of like Occupy Wall Street and such, you had this growing sentiment when the first season was airing, of, a lot of people were really frustrated with the 1%, and to evolve that into, what if they start seeing Oliver as part of that, works really well. And obviously the earthquake, there can be a lot of stories that come out of the fallout of the earthquake. So very nicely done on that. The way that, yeah, I don't have to lay out, it's well documented, the frustrations back then with rich people. Now, I think that does get us... so we get more glorious Felicity. Oliver is going into the office, and, Felicity says, I quit. Not my old job as IT, the new job that you're trying to give me, and he calls it, Girl Wednesday, and she's like, it's Friday. It's so great the way that she just, like, when she knows she's right about something, she does push. And, like, by the end of the episode, like, she compromised and agreed, okay, 1 cup of coffee, that's it, but yeah, she's not just gonna be the secretary, Yeah, love seeing, a woman who knows her worth. She points out, she went to MIT. And I think that does... Yeah, you have the thing, she realizes Dig hasn't told him, and, about Carly, and, Dig says he has enough to deal with. And yeah, the thing about, like, maybe you could, the thing about, like, Mr. Queen, can I get you a coffee? You're not actually offering to get me a coffee. Never gonna happen. Just wonderful. Let's see. And again, I feel they're treading that line. You know, you have to be careful not to let it end up being like comic relief and kind of like, you know, you don't want the audience laughing and thinking, oh, this silly woman. But, you know, I don't know. I feel it works. You know, the passion shines through, and we're more like laughing at him, you know, just like, yeah, you know, here's it is a little bit of a theme on the show. There's a lot that he can get because of his wealth and such. The women in his life are not just going to go along with what he says and does when they know he's wrong, you know. So yeah. And let's see, yeah, there's the thing about, you know, well, maybe you could make dinner plans for, you know, Dig, Carly, and me. And she's like, I'll do that using the internet, which you also have access to. And I think that does... Nope. Gonna have to... Let's see. What makes the most sense? I guess... Yeah, I'm gonna have to call them back. That's what we're gonna... So the... Yeah. Let's see. Now, what was the other thing? Let's see. Where were we? Yes. So Felicity. We have the thing about the let's see, where did we get to? Yeah. I think the next, let's go with, yeah. So Blood comes to the office, and you know, the thing about like, well, he's a little bit intimidated of him, and you know, there's, you know, Blood does not shake his hand and says, you know, from up here we must look like ants to you. And I love the little thing of, you know, Oliver lays out, you know, I really am sorry, you know, I want to spend, you know, I want to raise money to make this better. And you know, Blood like repeats some and like I was genuinely thinking like, oh, he's gonna, and I'm pretty sure I was meant to think like he's gonna say, you're just trying to improve your image, aren't you? But then he ends with saying that would make a difference, you know. And then later when he doesn't show, it feels like he was betrayed, like he was played for a fool, a sap. And I think, yeah, let's see. We have the part where they... let's see, what was the other thing? They, yeah, it was great. The you know, the speech he gives at the party when they don't. And right, I like that he points out, you know, well, Felicity, we have amazing computers up here, you know, maybe. And she points out, you know, about doing how well she does her job in the different locations. Let's see. Yeah, great when Arrow is able to, you know, well, yeah, he tries to help with the trucks, but ultimately, you know, yeah, China White and Bronze Tiger, and the cops show up like, holy crap. And they do indeed open fire, just as they said they would, and he even gets shot, but is okay. And let's see, then we have the... what was the other thing? Right, great choreography. Also really loved when he has to fight both of them at the same time, and Dig helps out. Really cool when he fights China. And yeah, you know, the arrow that like cuffs her to the thing, and she's like, you would have killed me by now if you hadn't changed. And Yeah, great when Laurel lays out, yeah, she is indeed upset about, understandably so. She thinks that he just abandoned Tommy like that. So let's see. And she says, never talk to me again. And then later she set a trap. Somehow I knew you weren't going to listen. And what else am I missing? I think that does pretty much cover the episode. Let's see. Yeah, I like the thing about, well, there's a truck leaving 20 minutes, and then later in the episode, when's the next leaving? That's the bad news. 5 minutes ago, just, yeah. And yeah, I love the thing about, who can feed us, 1-year-old surveillance footage, and you just get a shot of her, like, sitting there tapping away like it's badass, but just, yeah. And I think that does pretty much get us to let's see. Right. I don't think they say it in the episode, but in the deleted scene, China explains, if they are able to. Let's see. Was it specifically because it's drugs, or was it that it's doing damage to a hospital? I forget, but it would enable the triad to take over. I think it's the drugs because it's like opioids, and yeah, I think that does pretty much cover. Let's see. Where are we? Yeah, I think that pretty much. Yeah, I like the part where Thea says, I can't stop you from, this, the crusade, but I don't have to have you in my life either, and gives the I would definitely butcher it, so I'm not going to pronounce it, but yeah, the Buddhist thing, and explains the significance. And I like later when he's like, am I supposed to give it back to you or keep it? I'm a little confused. And it's genuinely so sweet when he says, a choice between a life with or without you, it's going to be a choice to have you in my life anytime. And I mean, technically he's not going to go out and fight anymore, but as yeah. And we even, the camera shows the arrow in his pocket, so he is very much accepting. He even asked, is it okay if I keep this? And he certainly did. So yeah, I think, yeah. And I like the thing about, I can fight, you can take a beating. There's a difference. Yes, I think that does cover. Let's see. Yeah, very, very cool when the two villains pair off with the with Arrow and Diggle, and we see her jump on the back of the truck, and then the next time we see, it's been like a minute or two, she's like climbing in the window. Really, really cool. We don't need to spend time just watching her climb across the car. It's like, okay, like let's see her arrive instead. Love the cutting when Blood is talking to the rich people at the party. And it cuts to the action scene, and yeah, strong contrast between, he's saying, he's not going to help us, meanwhile we're seeing what he's doing to help. And I think that does pretty well cover. Yeah, really, really great episode. I am trying not to think too hard about exactly what is going to happen next episode, because I don't want to accidentally guess it. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, I like the thing about it, Miss Smoke, could you get me and the Alderman, a coffee? And she's like, Mr. Queen, I'm sorry, but the coffee maker is broken. Violently. And right, I also liked the part where Laurel explains to Blood, she's an old friend of Queen's. And I thought it worked really well. The thing about, crucifying, her pointing out, are you really, you're crucifying him in the media, and he, it doesn't make him say, oh, you're right, I'm going too far. Like earlier, he did say, sometimes I let my temper get the better of me, and clearly that is a pattern, and even though he realizes it, he's still doing that. And yeah, him talking about like crucifixion, yeah, like that is the kind of what's the word, the um we understand why he still pursues this. And right, I liked Roy pointing out, there's more, there are others out, there's at least one more person out there. And Laurel says she only cares about the hood. And I think that might bring us to really, really tense and suspenseful when Oliver is going after Bronze Tiger, who's hiding, and every so often jumps out and slashes at him. Yeah, like, not gonna lie, Enter the Dragon vibes. Love that. Yeah, I think that might... I am seriously considering doing a video on that, and possibly some other Bruce Lee. Yeah, quite a fan. Have been for quarter century, I guess. Let's see. I feel like there's one more thing that I really wanted to make sure to say. Yeah, it was also, we've seen Arrow get out of tough situations, fight his way out of tough situations. The very end of this episode genuinely does feel like, I don't know how he would be able to fight his way out of this. It's just, yeah. Let's see. And I like that, he doesn't say Tommy was my friend too, because at that point it's like, she might, realize that this is Oliver, but he says, I lost a friend that night too. Yeah, I think, doesn't that pretty much get us to the... Yeah, absolutely love this episode. Can hardly wait to watch more of the season. And right, as per usual, I'm doing one season of this, and then let's see, next is Fear the Walking Dead season 1, and then back to one of the MCU adjacent shows. I think it is MODOK, but yeah. And then back to the next Arrowverse thing, and roughly 20 some days of that. Yes. Right. I quite like when Dig, Dig points out, have I told you it really... Oh, right. Real quick. Yes. Loved Felicity. The thing of, the thing about, Arrow is laying into Dig, and then, Felicity says, you don't get to do that to him. You're not the only person in pain here. You didn't even realize that he lost Carly, and the thing about, well, people break up. Yeah, but I mean, I'm sorry I wasn't there for you. I should have picked up on it. And yeah, he does still sometimes struggle to, he gets obsessed, and sometimes he needs his friends to pull him back. The flashbacks. So yeah, loved Shadow talking to Oliver, and, That's after Slade points out, if nobody talks to him, he is gonna, this is really gonna crush him. And, then he says, not it. No, but seriously, yeah, it needs to be Shadow talking to Oliver. And yeah, we have the conversation between them. That was also great. And she points out, there is a hero and a killer, or we are all capable of good and evil, basically. Slade does not look super happy about how much, the fact that it is also now sexual. He looked a little jealous. That's, yeah, that could be a problem. And yeah, he managed to find the place that they were looking for. And yeah, I am really fascinated to find out what exactly happened. There was the deformed skulls. So World War II, I mean, maybe chemical warfare of some kind. And yeah, we see the finding of the stone there. And yeah, really looking forward. That's going to be really cool to find out more about over the course of this season. What exactly is, now we have some idea of what they're, clearly whatever's in there is what the people that, they attacked, that took Shadow, and that Oliver killed one of them. And yeah, let's see. So that's what they were looking for. Yes. Again, yeah, Felicity being, the most emotionally intelligent, getting these two men to communicate, actually have a conversation about their feelings, because they need to. And yeah, the acknowledgement of, it's not weakness to need somebody. Let's see. Loved when Dig points out, have I told you it really weirds me out when you refer to yourself in the third person? And then Oliver responds, Oliver Queen finds it very annoying when Diggle is annoyed that he refers to himself in the third person.